G'day there, my name's Aaron, this is Chiara. We've been travelling Southeast Asia for about the last 4 months, and this is our guide on how we travelled Vietnam.
We entered Vietnam in Chau Doc because we got a boat from Phnom Penh in Cambodia. It's only 5 hours ride. If you are coming from Cambodia, I highly recommend this trip. Chau Doc is a small town, there is not much to see there, so if you are landing in Ho Chi Minh, you don't need to see it, you can skip it because it's 7 hours bus ride away. So assuming that you will land in Ho Chi Minh or Hanoi, you can follow this guide in both ways. We will leave from Ho Chi Minh, but just reverse it if you're landing in Hanoi. A lot of people told us that they like the north more, so that you should start the trip from the south and go north, but we actually like the south of Vietnam as well. So your first step will be getting a hotel in Ho Chi Minh. In this I recommend to get an accommodation in District 1, which is the touristy central part of town. It's close to a lot of pubs and restaurants and cafes and a very busy street. So if you want to have a party night, that is the place for you. But you can also find areas that are a little bit quieter if you don't want to be in the noise all night. Our apartment was actually pretty quiet. By the way, we apologize if there is background noise. They are doing some constructions in this hotel in which we are now.
District 1 is also very close to the Ben Thanh market. If you want to go shopping for some cheap items, make sure you can haggle and visit the Ben Thanh market. There's everything here, there's a whole range. Clothes, shoes, backpack, accessories, kitchen supplies, there's food there as well. Anything you can think of, it's there.
However, I recommend to wait for your shopping as you go north because we have been to other towns with much better shopping than Ho Chi Minh. When you get to Ho Chi Minh, one of the first things that you need to do is trying the Vietnamese coffee. There are 3 main Vietnamese coffee that are very famous, and these are the egg coffee, the coconut coffee and the salt coffee, and of course your traditional Vietnamese coffee. I love the coconut coffee. Everyone talks about the egg coffee, but personally I really love the coconut one. Aaron loves the traditional Vietnamese coffee. The coffee is pretty good, and we have found the tiramisu coffee as well sometimes. It was delicious. One thing that you must do in Ho Chi Minh is go visit the Cu Chi tunnels. I'd recommend getting a tour because they are 1 hour away from Ho Chi Minh and you really don't want to drive a bike through the Vietnamese traffic. It cost us $25, so be aware if someone is trying to sell you this tour for a lot more money, and it comes with transport and a guide. Our guide was actually a veteran from the Vietnam War, and it was very interesting to hear his side of the story. And of course, a must thing to do is also visiting the War Museum. I recommend doing this either just before visiting the Cu Chi tunnels or just after. You will understand much more of the Vietnam War, and you should plan to be there at least for 3 or 4 hours. This is actually in Ho Chi Minh, and it's quite central. It's like it took us 10 minutes taxi drive from District 1.
From Ho Chi Minh City, we travelled to Dalat. We were supposed to get on a bus, but we waited on the side of the road for about 1.5 to 2 hours. Either we missed it, or it drove right past us, or we're in the wrong spot. But we eventually jumped on a van that was heading to Dalat. We overpaid them, but that doesn't matter because we eventually got there anyway. The journey, it was supposed to take 5 hours, took 7 instead. But while we were there, we booked into the Crazy House, which is one of the most craziest, unique architecture that I've ever seen. It was designed by an architect, a local architect, with the idea of bringing man more in touch with nature itself. So there's no right angles in the whole Crazy House. And it's not just one house, it's a series of buildings and a series of rooms and a few gardens as well, and there's even a coffee shop there which you can wander around and just check out all the unique architecture, all the sculptures, all the craziness. We booked a room there. It cost around $50 per night, and the benefit of doing that is that you can explore the place in the evenings and early mornings when there's no other tourists around. During the day it's open for tourists to come wander through and have a look, but during the night at a certain time and in the morning at a certain time, there's no one else around. So you can wander around without any people and just check it out for yourself, and it's really quite special.
It is definitely worth paying for a room.
Keeping in line with the crazy house theme, there is also a crazy maze bar, which is in the town of Dalat itself. So you can wander in, at the front desk you buy yourself a drink, you can get a beer or a wine or a water or a soft drink or whatever you want, and then you enter the maze. And the goal is to try and get through the maze to a seating area above the entrance. It is trickier than I thought it would be. It's not, obviously it's a maze, but there's a lot of false turns that make you double around to where you've already been, and if you're not paying attention, it'll take you hours to get through.
It is much, much bigger than what it looks like from the outside. And the design is awesome. It's very cool. It's very similar to the Crazy House design, even if it was built by a different architect.
Once you actually get through the maze, there's a really cool chilled out seating area where you can sit down, finish your drink. You can even wander downstairs and get another one, wander back up if you want. Very cool place, very cool experience. Definitely recommend it.
Another interesting thing to do in Dalat is get in the cable car and go up to a temple, but we actually didn't see the temple because we weren't dressed appropriately, because we didn't know there was a temple to visit after the cable car. But the cable car itself is a very cool experience, and once you get up you can get a coffee, chill out, look at the view. There is also an alpine coaster, which we didn't do, that takes you to a waterfall, and if you have enough time that should be a cool experience to do. Overall, I think you should stay in Dalat 2 or 3 days. 2 if you are very fast, 2 if you do a lot of things in one day, otherwise 3 days might be better if you want to chill out a little bit more.
From Dalat, we jumped on a van that took us to Nha Trang, which is a coastal beachside city. Completely different in the terms that it's more of a modern coastal town. Like, you get the high-rise buildings, the high-rise apartments that look over the sea.
If you have been to the Gold Coast in Australia or the Sunshine Coast, it looks very similar to a big town there. With all the skyscrapers and the sea view, and it's very clean and tidy. It's very nice.
Stayed at a place called Star City Apartments. We rented an apartment on Airbnb, and it was $35 Australian per night for an apartment at the 35th floor overlooking the ocean, and it's amazing value for money. What you get for what you pay is ridiculous.
It was the best hotel deal we have ever got, I think.
There's a cafe called Same Same But Different. We made friends with the owner there because we visited at least once a day for the whole 3 days we were there. And because we visited there every day, we became friends. She recommended a few places for us to visit while we were in the town, and we'll definitely be back there when we go back to Nha Trang.
There is also a nice market. It's nothing very big, just one street, and a lot of restaurants to eat at, cafes. There is not much to do other than relaxing at the beach. So maybe 2 or 3 days will be enough. Depends how long you want to relax for and enjoy the beach for. There is also a very big famous amusement park called Vin Wonders, that from what I understand is a chain of amusement parks in Vietnam. It was quite expensive. I think it was around 100 Australian dollars per person with the conversion. So we didn't go there, but we could see from our hotel there was a cable car that was going from the mainland to the little island in which the amusement park was.
From Nha Trang, we travelled to Hoi An, and we were supposed to get a sleeper bus that left at about 8 and arrived at about 6, and we were supposed to sleep all night.
We didn't.
We didn't. Ended up being quite a sleepless bus because of the constant honking that the driver was doing, the traffic noises, and the lights outside. It's just one way to travel to Vietnam. I recommend trying it once and then see if you can get some sleep, but we sure didn't.
So after that experience, we decided we were going to get buses only during the day, because we prefer waste one day and have a nice sleep in our bed rather than wasting all night and then all the day after because you are too tired to do anything else because you didn't get 1 hour of sleep.
Hoi An is quite famous for tailor-made clothing, and you can go there and get custom-made whatever you want. You can get custom-made shirts, suits, shorts, pants, dresses, evening wear. You can probably get custom-made underwear if you ask nicely enough.
You can get a bikini custom-made.
There you go. Hoi An was one of the coolest places in Vietnam that we visited. It might even be our favourite place in Vietnam. It was just nice and chilled, it's nice and small, relaxed, it's quiet, there's plenty of food around, it's all good food, there's plenty of coffee around and it's all good coffee, and you have the experience of the tailor-made clothing. They have a river that runs through the town, and they have the lantern boats, which are boats with all these lanterns, and you can jump on, you can take a tour of the river on a boat, you can light up a candle and put it in a paper boat and float it down the river. There's night markets nearly every night, which is really cool to see and to experience. There's also a beach, and there is a coconut boat, which we didn't actually do, but we've heard super fun as well.
If you want to get custom clothing done, we went to Bong Tailor, and we can't recommend them enough. We had a very good experience. Our tailor was Van, and she was very nice. I got a jumpsuit, and Aaron got a short and a pair of shorts. But if you want to do shopping, they're not just tailors. There are actually a lot of shops in which you can get cheaper clothing if you don't want to spend the money in custom-made clothing. You can literally shop until your heart is content. You will find everything. It's also famous for leather, so you can get custom-made leather shoes, bags, jackets, etc. If you are going to get custom-made clothing, we recommend you plan in Hoi An at least 4 days. You can probably get it done in 3 days, but it will be a stretch if you need extra modification. Usually when you go to the tailor, you will give them the design that you want, or you can pick the design from the book that they have in the shop or from Pinterest, and it will take about 24 hours to get the clothing done, but this will be just the first fitting. It might be good straight away, or you might need different fittings. Aaron's clothing was ready straight away, but I needed 2 or 3 more fittings, so make sure you have enough time. In Hoi An we stay at Sui House, I might be saying this wrong, which is in Cam Nam Island, which is just 20 minutes walk from the city center. The owner of the place was super nice. We had a huge apartment. We were planning to stay there 3 nights, and we stayed 6 nights. And because the Cam Nam Island is a little bit far away from the touristy part, everyone in that little 500 square meters, they were so nice. Everyone was saying hello to us every time we were passing by. It was a lovely experience. I think the best people we have met in Vietnam.
If you're in that area in the right time, you can also go visit the Da Nang night market, which only happens on the weekend. It's only about an hour from Hoi An, and the reason to go there is that it has the world's only fire-breathing dragon bridge. There is a bridge, it has a dragon on it, and it breathes fire. And it also blows out water too, it breathes water. So cool to see, definitely go see that.
We actually spent 3 days in Da Nang, but we didn't enjoy that very much. So we recommend, if you are short on time, to just go from Hoi An, go on the weekend, go see the dragon, and go back to Hoi An.
From Hoi An, we recommend going to Phong Nha, which is up the coast a little way. It is a small town, but in a really rocky, mountainous region with a river flowing through it. It's absolutely amazing, absolutely gorgeous. If you're adventurous while you are there, you can go explore the cave systems which are around there. There is a cave system there that has one of the largest caves in the whole world, and it is totally worth a visit. We were going to go visit, but we couldn't because of outside circumstances. But next time we're in Phong Nha, we can and we will.
We didn't go visiting because we found out that it costs $3,000 to go there. It takes a 4-day tour, and you need to book like 6 months in advance because it's always packed. So if you want to visit that cave, make sure that you book well in advance.
Other than that, Phong Nha is amazing. It was good for us because it allowed us a chance to wind down and relax a little bit. We didn't have to do anything, we didn't want to do anything, we just wanted to go explore the town, eat some food, drink some coffee and relax, and it was great.
There are also smaller caves to visit. We didn't because we just wanted to relax a little bit, but there are multiple caves that you can visit with half a day or a day trip. From here we went to Nimbin, which a lot of people compare to Halong Bay. We actually love Nimbin. It's very similar to Phong Na. You have this mountain system with this river passing through, very relaxing town. We really recommend to do the boat tour. It's quite cheap. I think we pay $15 per person, Australian dollars, something like that. And we had this old lady, and she would have been maybe 70, 75, rowing us around in this little boat, 3 of us for 3 hours. You take this boat in the river and you actually get to enter the caves in the boat. You can pick between 3 different trips. We did, I think, trip 1, but I don't think there is much difference between all the trips. But it was amazing, and this is one of the best experiences we had in Vietnam. We were afraid it might be a bit touristy, but actually there weren't a lot of people there. There weren't a lot of people in Ninh Binh in general, and we're not sure if it's because it wasn't high season, but we were going to restaurants and they were completely empty. It was like they were expecting a lot of tourists to come, but the tourists weren't just there yet. So for us it was great because it was nice and relaxing, far away from the busy areas of Vietnam. From here we went to Halong Bay. Now everyone talks about how amazing Halong Bay is, and I'm sure it is. But when we went there, we were there in April, end of April, and it was so cloudy that we had a beautiful apartment with the view on the islands, and we couldn't see anything. We could see just the shape of the islands in the distance and just clouds and fog in front of them. It wasn't even that hot, so for this reason we actually didn't go for a tour or anything else, but people really recommend it. So if you have a lot of money to spend on a luxury cruise, it's probably worth making your way to Halong Bay. If not, we really enjoy Ninh Binh, which people actually call the Halong Bay on land.
From there we went to Hanoi and we stayed in the Old Quarter, which is a very interesting place. When we first arrived in Hanoi, it was just another city, but the more time we spent there, the more of the character came out and the more we actually liked it. Hanoi is a very interesting place, but I think you need to stay there for a few days to get the full experience of it. You can walk down the street, you can jump in a random cafe and you have yourself a beautiful coffee and meet friendly people that are absolutely everywhere.
We got our hotel just outside the Old Quarter, which is a busy and touristy area, and our hotel was actually very quiet. Actually, Airbnb, I think we got an Airbnb. If you get a hotel that is right in the Old Quarter, expect it to be noisy. We are not going to tell you the typical touristy things to do because you can find them yourself very easily on any blog on Google, but we want to give you an idea of actually how these places feel like and the things that we enjoy there.
So to wrap it up, that was our trip through Vietnam. Vietnam is an amazing country. We'll definitely go back there again. We'll definitely see some of the places. We'll revisit some of the people we've met because we've made friends for life. And I can't wait to go back.
We spent 45 days in Vietnam, but we were also working online as we were traveling. But you can probably do this trip in around 3 weeks. But the more the better. We didn't get to visit Sapa, which is the north area of Vietnam, close to China, but we really want to go back and see it. If you are planning a trip to Vietnam, make sure to watch our videos with all our tips to travel to Vietnam.
And with that, that is the end for this one. Make sure you give it a like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.